In this video, you will learn how to do the magic cast on. The magic cast on is used for when you're casting on for toe-up socks. Just like the long tail cast on, you're going to use a length of yarn with the tail, but in this case, you're going to be using 2 circular needles. And you're using 2 circular needles because you're doing these socks 2 at a time, and this avoids having to use double points. So what I'm going to do is start with my 2 circular needles, taking 2 of the ends and holding them together. Here are the other ends. And just like with the long tail, I'm going to drape this yarn over my needle. Okay, but in this case, I'm taking the tail of the yarn and then I'm pulling it up and over, and it's creating a loop on that top needle. Now what I'm going to do is hold the yarn as I would for my long tail cast on. So I have the tail draped over my thumb, okay, the working yarn draped over my forefinger, and now I'm just going to go with this bottom needle up and around from the working yarn, and then with the other, with the tail, I'm going to go up and around the top needle. Up and around, 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 and notice I'm adding loops onto my needle here. Okay, and I'm going to continue to do this until I have 8 stitches. So if you notice, the bottom needle is pulling from the yarn on top, the top needle is pulling from yarn on the bottom. Okay, and now I have 8 stitches on my top, 7 on the bottom, so I'm going to do 1 more. Okay, and there are our 8 stitches. So that is the magic cast on. From this point, what we're going to do to start our toe is kind of wrap the yarn off over the bottom one, kind of under the tail. And now what I'm going to do is on the top needle, I'm actually going to pull it down so that this cord is in those stitches. Then I'm going to take the bottom needle here, and I'm going to take the other end of that bottom needle, and now using my working yarn, the yarn that's coming off of the ball, I'm just going to knit down these stitches. Okay, and remember with the toe we started with 8 stitches. That's a common number for an adult-sized toe. Your 2 circular needles should be the same size, whatever your pattern calls for. If you don't have 2 of the same, you can always work with just 1 size down, and that should be fine. You shouldn't really notice a difference. Okay, so now I've knit down this side, and notice all of the stitches are still on the same needle, the same circular needle. Okay, so now I need to knit down these stitches. See, the working yarn's coming off the top of this side. So what I'm going to do is pull these stitches down so that they're now on this cord, and I'm going to pull the second needle and pull the stitches onto that one. Now I'm able to knit down this side. Now the first time that you knit down this row, what you're going to do is knit through the back loop because these stitches are on your needle backwards. And when you knit through the back loop, that just ensures that because the stitches are on backwards, that your stitches won't be twisted once you knit down the needle. Okay, so here I go, knitting through the back loop of all of these stitches. Okay, and we have our first row worked. Now to do your sock, you're actually going to be increasing so that your sock kind of forms that V outwards. But this is the magic cast on and knitting the first row of stitches, and that's for your 2 at a time socks.